Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Jacob Payton. Today I'm going to be talking about Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes. This is one of the books I picked up from the library pretty recently. And on the front it says The Ultimate Haunted House Story in Space by Alma Katsu. I originally picked this up because A, I'm a fan of Ghost Ship, which was an early 2000s movie, as well as Event Horizon, and this was kind of described to me as a mashup of both, and I'm going to be 100% honest, the book did not disappoint in that way in the least. Inside it says, Claire Kovalek is days away from being unemployed, made obsolete when her beacon repair crew picks up a strange distress signal. With nothing to lose and no desire to return to Earth, Claire and her team decide to investigate. What they find is shocking. The Aurora, a famous luxury space liner that vanished on its maiden tour of the solar system more than 20 years ago. A salvage claim like this could set Claire and her crew up for life, but a quick search of the ship reveals something isn't right. Whispers in the dark, flickers of movement, messages scrawled in blood. Claire must fight to hold on to her sanity and find out what really happened on the Aurora before she and her crew meet the same ghastly fate. So yeah, basically this book follows a salvage crew that comes across this ghost ship that has essentially been gone, I think they say close to 20 years. It was a luxury liner, kind of like the Titanic or something similar, except instead of crashing, it just disappeared altogether with some of the most rich and famous people from Earth at that time on board. Never to be seen again, no distress beacons, nothing, and no one knew why. And this world is kind of dystopian a little bit, just kind of in the way that everything is run by these giant corporations, which very much are governments onto themselves, and that plays a pretty, I would say a pretty key figure in the book. I mean, if it wasn't for these giant mega corporations, a lot of the things that happen in the book would not take place. We see Claire, for instance, in this book. She is a medium, and it kind of comes out that her mediumship was awakened during another accident that was caused by the same corporation, or not the same corporation, but a similar corporation to that which built the ship. It certainly is very creepy. I love the parts of this book where they are actually exploring the Aurora and they're trying to piece together the mystery. That was honestly like some of my favorite parts of the book, was them trying to figure out what happened, because they are just, A, they're finding all these bodies, and B, the way they're finding the bodies are not what they would expect if you think of like some sort of ship failure or something that would have happened. It literally just seems like these people killed each other or killed themselves for some unknown reason, and that mystery only kind of deepens the further they go along the ship. One thing I didn't kind of like is there is a time jump in the book in which Claire makes it off the ghost ship somewhere in the middle of the book. That's not much of a spoiler, because we know this in the very beginning, that she is retelling her story of what happened when she boarded the Aurora. We don't know why she's telling the story or who she's telling the story to at first, but that does come out later in the book. But we don't find out what happens to a lot of her crew during that time period of her being on the ship. Which I kind of would have liked to spend a little longer with them as they figure out kind of a little more of what's going on the ship, and also just finding out more about what happened to the passenger on the ship. I feel like some of that was skipped. It was skipped for good reason. I mean, this isn't a super long book. It's about 300 and some pages. So, that it did make sense why that had to happen. And also, I understand now that I finished the book why it had to happen, because it made the payoff in the end that much better. But I'm one of those people that I like to know why the scary things are happening as they're happening. So that was just something I kind of would have liked to see, I think. I also just love the ghost ship premise. But it is also very much a science fiction action adventure book. So it's not just a straight up horror. It is a sci-fi horror. There are, corporate politics, and there's a lot of stuff playing on in the background that make it much less of just a straight up horror book. So if you are looking for a straight up horror book, though, I will say that this, I think, also satisfies that. Especially if you like Event Horizon. It very much plays into Event Horizon in the way that, everyone who steps aboard on this ship slowly goes mad and they start seeing things and they don't know why. Much like, Event Horizon, in which the ship went through hell, there is something very dark happening on this ship. And it also reminded me a lot of the movie Ghost Ship, in which, a salvage crew boards a lost luxury liner that's been floating in the ocean, and then all of a sudden, they start encountering all the ghosts on board that are up to no good, and the longer they stay, the more powerful they get, which is very kind of rose red if you're familiar with the Stephen King movie. And I like that. I like it when books kind of pull from familiar sources, especially because, I don't know, it makes me feel a little more invested in them, and it gives me that sense of, oh, I know what you did there, and I like that a lot. And that played out a lot in this book, and I really enjoyed that. This is the first, I do believe, S.A. Barnes book I've read, but I will definitely be on the lookout for more of her books. I'm gonna be honest, I haven't read much of the Tor Nightfire line either, so this is only like the second or third Tor Nightfire line. And I hope they keep going in this direction, because this book was a whole lot of fun. It was just a straight up ghost story in space for a lot of it, and then it wasn't. And then, some other stuff happens. I'm not going to give away a bunch of spoilers, but if you are on the fence about reading this book, I will say that you should go ahead and check it out. This book was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. If you like Ghost Ship, if you like Event Horizon, you're going to absolutely love this book. I really hope, I think this book kind of came out either this year or last year, but I really do kind of hope we start seeing more sci-fi horror books, because that is a genre I really do enjoy. I feel like what we do get is more of the Dead Space, Alien, Parasite type stuff, but I love that too. I love Dead Space, I love Doom, but I do like the idea of, some ghosts in space, so I do hope we get to see more of that. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I can't recommend this book enough. If you're on the fence about reading it, if you want to read it, if you've never heard about this book until now and you think this might be cool, I think you should go read it and check it out. If you like this book, didn't like this book, know some more sci-fi horror books to check out, please let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.